we'll start again. This is Charlie, who is an awesome dog. The other dog trainer was an idiot. So Charlie basically has some boundary issues. Charlie. And so what I was hoping you would do what you were doing before I handed the camera. Sit. There we go. Sit. See if I can load you up a little bit. So basically what Charlie wants to do is get closer to me and kind of tell me what to do. Or not tell me what to do, but he's like, I want you to pet me. So he kept on jumping up. Now, there's a couple ways you can address this. My first thing I did is I hissed at him as a way of saying no, but Charlie, we've already identified, is a kind of a fearful dog or an anxious dog, or maybe a sensitive dog is a better way to put it. And just like humans, there are people who are very outgoing and boisterous, and people who are gregarious, and people who are shy and introverted, and dogs are very much the same way. And so if you have a dog that is shy and we use harsh corrections, we talk to them too loud. You know, some dogs are very sensitive. We just raise our voice and they like slink around like, you know, we're mad at them or we're just yelling at AT&T because our service is bad or whatever it is. Right, Charlie? Yes. And as a result of that, we end up getting a dog that can, you know, sometimes the dog is a mirror of us. And so if we're upset, the dog recognizes we're upset. Sometimes they'll come over, like Charlie will come over and start doing tricks if he realizes somebody's upset. He's trying to kind of get them to change their mood a little bit. Right, Charlie? You're still not going to do what I don't want you to do. So what I'm going to do is explain what I was doing. So Charlie's putting his paws up here. And let's see if I can entice you to come up here. Oh, yes, Charlie. Who's a good dog, Charlie? Who's a good dog? Who's a good dog? Oh, there we go. Sit. Sit. So what I'm doing, this is a version of what I call passive training, but it basically is a way of using positive reinforcement. So when he jumps up on me, and right now we don't have to film it, but he went over to his guardian, he kind of nudged her, stuck his nose under her arm, and said, pet me, pay attention to me, and she promptly did. So anything that a dog does, we pet it, we are rewarding the dog for whatever it's doing when we pet it at the time. So what happens is a puppy, the dog comes up and sit. There we go. Up, sit. Sit. So as soon as the paws came up, the petting stopped. As soon as the paw went down, the petting resumed. Now, I have an offshoot of this. I call it passive training. So everything your dog is, you know, everything we do trains our dog. So if the dog comes to me and I pet it and say the word here, after a while, then it's more inclined to come, sit. So right there, Charlie sat down on his own. I didn't ask him to sit. I pet him and say the word sit. Most of us talk way too much to our dog. Oh, Charlie, you're the smartest dog ever. I didn't even have to ask you and you sat down. I didn't even say the command word there, which is sit. I'll come back to that. So sit, sit. After a while, sit, sit. So in this house, every time he jumps up on people, I'm guessing they pet him. Correct?
Some people do, yeah.
Okay. And so I've just watched the three people in the room here. Anytime that he kind of did, they kind of petted him a little bit. So over time, dogs are like, well, this is the way to ask to get petted, is by jumping up on people. So what I'm doing here is, I'm not really so much disagreeing with him. We can do that, but he's a sensitive dog, and I'm worried about affecting his confidence. So I would rather just use positive reinforcement. And we can also use a negative reinforcer. In this case, the negative reinforcer is the stoppage of petting. So right now, Charlie just laid down next to his guardian. So right within 3 seconds of your dog doing something that you want it to do, you should pet it and say the command word. So they've used my word, which is crash. And so every time Charlie comes and lays down on his own on the floor, we should reach over and pet him and say crash. Every time he comes to us, we should pet him and say here. Every time that he comes and sits in front of us, we pet him and say sit. I taught my Dalmatian to stretch this way. Every time he'd stretch, I pet him and say stretch. Now I can say stretch, he sticks his butt in the air, waggles his tail, and yawns at the end, and he'll do it 10 times in a row. So all I'm doing is just simply rewarding the dog for doing something it already did on its own, and because the timing is within that 3-second window, and I'm only using the command word, not good sit, not, oh, Charlie, what a good sit, or Charlie's a great sitter, sit, crash, here, whatever the command word is, a one-word command. After a while, the dog starts to associate. Every time I hear the word here, I get a scratch behind the ear or a special treat, and I happen to be next to the people. And after a while, he realizes if I hear the word here, I'm going to come to the people, and they're going to reward me. Now in this case, what is the command word for come for Charlie?
Come.
Okay. On average, most dogs have 7 command words for every command action. Come here, over here, here boy, Charlie, whistle, tap my thigh. And there's usually a couple extras. So if I have to learn 7 computer programs, that's very daunting. If I have to learn 1 program, that is infinitely easier. If we get in a habit of just using the single command word, everybody in the house uses only that one word. If you speak English, come here, over here, all mean the same thing. To a dog, those are all completely different command words. So since we've been saying come here, come, and versions of that, I've been using the word here, which is what I use for my dog. So what I'd like you guys to do is every time that Charlie comes to you on his own, just pet him and say the word here. Now, as soon as he puts his paws up or starts to try to get up on the couch or on us, we immediately stop petting him. And we just sat there. We had it, when you rewind this, you'll be able to watch this period. He's just staring at me. I didn't say anything. And as soon as he went back down, I petted him. So if you do that enough and everyone stops petting him when he jumps up on us and instead pets him as soon as he sits down, he's going to adopt that new behavior and just start going and sitting in front of people and saying, hey, I'm sitting, sucker. Shouldn't you be petting me? And we should as much as we can. This is how we can use positive reinforcement to shape a dog's behavior into doing things that we want rather than things that we don't.